Hi, my name is Casey Groovement, and I am here to talk about QAR, which is the question-answer relationship. I think this is a really good strategy, and I've actually seen it in observations in classrooms, and I thought it went really well, and I just thought that I would like to tell you guys just in case you have never used it or seen it before. So, question-answer relationship, the QAR, is a strategy that helps students understand the different types of questions that they will maybe encounter in a text or something that a teacher would maybe ask them. It's by learning, and by doing this, you learn the answer to some of the questions. And there's some strategies, and I'll kind of go over them. There's the right here, so you're right here in the text. So it requires them to read and kind of think about what they're looking for. The think and search is also another one, and that one can only be answered by having the questions there, and then they need to think about what they've read and then search for the answers to the questions that you provided. And then the on their own is another part of this strategy, which it helps them recognize that it might come from their own personal experiences, or without even reading. This is a good strategy just to kind of see what the students are thinking about before you even read, or even after you have read it to them. They might develop some questions that they could answer on their own. So seeing this in action, you do this after reading most of them, and you can use it individually, you can use it in small groups, you can do it as whole class. There's lots of strategies you can do to implement this QAR. So why would you use this for students? Why would you spend time in a class to do this? And it improves students' reading and their comprehension. Teaches students how to ask questions about their reading, helps students think about the text, inspires them to think creatively, and work together while challenging them to use higher level thinking skills. So it kind of helps them to slow down and not just skim through, because they know they're going to have to stop and answer questions. So first of all, before you start this, you can kind of explain to the students what it is and what you're going to be doing with them. And explain that there's 4 types of questions that they will encounter. The ones that I started with, the right here, the think and search. And then define it and give an example of how they would use these strategies. And I kind of wrote down, maybe I would have this up on the board just so they can have something to look at. So you have the right there, like go, start reading, look for, the who, what, when, where, how in the text. The think and search which is the part where you slow down and you can summarize what you're looking for. You can give examples. But before doing this, this is kind of like to explain, have like a visual image that they can see. And then you want to read a short passage aloud. That's kind of the main goal of this, and to get them to participate. So have the predetermined questions that you will ask, and after you stop reading, you can kind of go through these, and when you finish reading, read the questions aloud and model how you would decide which type of questions you have been asked and then how to answer them. So kind of like walk it through with them, kind of what they're looking for, and not just skimming through the text, but actually reading it and getting, the answers to the questions that you've already had out. So you have you can do fun pictures. I've seen some really cool worksheets where it's kind of like fill in the blank. You have like the book, and then with the picture, they maybe look for what the kid has a brown shirt on or something. And so in that box, you would put something to go with that story that you want them to look for. But it's kind of, the picture is like a clue to start looking for as you're reading. And this is really good for, first through third. This is kind of a lower in the elementary education, because usually as they get older, they kind of already know how to look for questions and answers in text. But if not, you could always start with this. show students how to find information to answer the questions. So like in the texts, using their own experiences is really a good one. Kids always like to tell stories, so it's good to kind of, you could start with that. But yeah, so back to this. So the go, they're thinking about where, when, what are they going to be looking for, after you have their questions laid out for them. And then the think and search, the slow down part, that's where they're going to make meaning. That's where they're going to like slow down. They're going to summarize, compare and contrast, retell even. You could have them turn to a classmate and retell a little bit of what you just did, so you know that they're retaining it and actually listening. And then the author in you, which is where they kind of stop. And the students are required to relate to their own experiences. They must have read, of course, or been listening to the story being read to them to answer the questions that you have. So you could have questions like, predict what will happen. What is the main idea of the story? What could be another title for this book or this story? Why did the author write this story? You could kind of have them thinking about it as they're going along. And then the on their own is kind of where they connect to everything. They're going to use what you've just read to them and kind of tell it in their own opinion. This is a great way to see if they actually like retain the story and if they're understanding what this QAR really is. And kids really use, clues from the text. They really use pictures is a great example to find clues to find answers. Also rereading, kind of maybe giving them time in groups to reread the story, or give them certain parts. They can all break it up into sections, and then give them the fun worksheet, or give them something, interesting to do with this, just to see if you can, see if they're getting what you want out of the text. And question, answer, relationship. I think this is a great strategy to use. I hope that this was a good example of it, and see you all soon.